Hey guys, welcome to Broad Street to Britain with me, Dave Shaw, and we are on the eve of a new opening day. I'm excited. These guys here, as you can see on the screen, are excited right now. I am joined as ever by Richard Skinner. Richard, how are you, buddy?
Very good, thank you. Yeah, I'm spring's over, and I'm so ready for Thursday, man. I'm so ready.
I'm buzzing. I'm gonna get it in just a second. I'm also joined by Alex Carr. Alex, how are you, my man?
I too am buzzing, Dave. I'm very excited. I was just saying this earlier before we hit the record button, but this is probably the most excited I've been in a long time. Not just for Phillies baseball, for baseball in general. I feel like it's needed right now. Need this 162 game serotonin boost in my life.
Give me that marathon.
On the day-to-day.
Give me that 7-month baseball marathon. And of course, we are joined by NBC Sports Spencer Mckercher, friend of the show, regular guest. Spencer, great to have you back, buddy. How are you?
Great to be back, Dave. Good. And I tested both of the Alex and Rich as well. It's we're here, man. It's exciting. Clearwater was good, but now we're ready to get things going.
Good, and the hype here is good because it seems a little flat on social media right now. The hype, I don't know. I feel people are stressing too much over Taijuan Walker starting every potential 6th game for the next month? It's 2-3 starts at most. People are stressing over the Ranger Suarez injury too much. People are stressing over. I couldn't believe this. I heard in WIP should Topper start the season in the hot seat. Come on, Matt Strahn.
What? That's a thing.
I know, yeah, WIP. Yeah, I'll give you one guess at who who raised it. It's just, come on, Matt Strahn's got a bad fingernail. Cool, chill, guys. Let's remember why we love baseball, why we love this sport, because I can't wait, personally, to get home after work, crack open a beer, and put the Phillies on TV, sitting down, watching my guys. I can't wait to get up in the morning with a bowl of shreddies. Avoid the spoilers, avoid all the highlights, and put the game on there in my shreddies, living and breathing every single pitch like I'm watching it live, staying up till midnight, staying up till 1 a.m. on every occasion, setting my alarm for 3 a.m. for the odd West Coast trip the Phillies have. You got to do it. It's all part of the experience. I can't wait for the Phillies roller coaster of emotion, the extreme highs, the extreme lows. There's no in between with the Phillies. Just enjoy it. I can't wait to see Ricky Bowe rip into the team when they're down bad on the post-game show. I can't wait for Absolute Hammer to reflect this Phillies ride with his memes and gifs on Twitter.
Shout out, Chris.
Shout out to Chris. I can't wait to go through the emotions. Another year of laughing at John Kruk, even when we're 6-0 down to the Marlins. John Kruk makes everything okay.
4-year extension, by the way, for Kruk.
Big shout to John Kruk. 4-year extension. We love that. The fanatic, the fun side. And, let's just stop stressing about Taijuan Walker and where the fields are going to be. We've got a trade deadline to come. Has he done enough for the bullpen? Who cares right now? Trade deadline. Let's get hot when it matters at the end of the season. Let's just sit back and enjoy baseball being back. Enjoy the Phillies being back on our screens. And you know what? I can't wait more than anything else to be there at Citizens Bank Park on a beautiful summer's day in June, crack open a beer, have some crab fries, and watch my team, the team I love. Let's go, Phillies. I've been Dave Shaw. Thank you for listening. Good night.
Great monologue, Dave.
Let's contrast that to next Monday when we mess up a game. It's like, I hate baseball.
Yeah. It's
all part of it. It's all part of it.
It's just, come on. This April's the fun month. This is the early months. Let's not worry too much about the results, what's going on. It's back. The Phils are back. I know a lot of people are going to DC for the opening series. A lot of people are going to be at the home openers against mind blank. I know Dodgers are third. Rockies and the Dodgers and the Reds are coming up. Let's just enjoy being back at the ballpark. Enjoy T-Mac and John Kruk, the Fanatic. Just enjoyed everything about it. Let's just not worry on the negatives too much. Boys, I'm going to ask you what are you looking forward to the most this season coming up? Spencer, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to top that, dude. And like Alex said, we're gonna have to, in come July when they're 500, we'll have to replay that monologue over and over again.
Yeah.
And just to feel the excitement. But yeah, man, there's a lot to look forward to. I know we've kind of discussed it at length here at NBC. I feel like this is different strictly because there wasn't really any of those big, and I think we talked about it the last time I was on here. There wasn't that big acquisition that they've gotten that they have in years past. So that's kind of where I don't think the excitement is through fans, because they're running it back and still a great team. Won the National League East last year, got to the NLCS before that, got the World Series before that. It's the exact same team. At least the core is still there. So what I'm most excited about though is to see Jesus Luzardo. I know we've been talking about that a lot, but that's a guy that if he can pitch the potential that he's shown over the last few seasons and when he was a top prospect with the A's, I think that's a huge high note for the Phillies. And if they can obviously ride off the piggyback of this top of the all of baseball rotation, then they're going to be in good shape. So as long as everyone can stay healthy, and I know we'll get into the lineup and everything with that, but as long as they can stay healthy and ride the momentum that this rotation will give throughout the season, I think they're in good shape. So the excitement's there for sure. It's starting to build, as you mentioned, Dave. They're 3 days away here on the East Coast, but we're looking forward to another good season of Phillies baseball.
Yeah, and I'm going to get into the NB side of it actually really quickly because I've got a couple of questions I want to throw at you, but we'll get there in just a moment.
Yeah.
Richard, what about you? So this is your first opening day as a Phillies fan.
Oh, that's special.
And it is. I was going to say,
awesome.
Alex just said there, it's special. I vaguely remember mine. 2013. It wasn't going into a great year, but where are you, Richard? Like opening day, it is special, and I hope we can see a lot of the opening ceremonies. I'm pretty sure the Phillies usually put it on their socials before NBC's coverage starts for us. So it's always worth sitting down and watching, get a beer, get some food. Richard, excitement levels?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I am ready to be here again. No, I'm really excited, man. I think we're gonna whether it starts as well. I'm hoping we kind of build. I'm hoping we start well, but I think the key thing is build into it. But I think like we've got some winnable opening games for sure. We 2 easy teams in theory, and then we had the Dodgers number last year. I think we're gonna have them again. So I'm not worried. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm actually already quite excited about that Dodgers series.
Yeah, and the whole like no big acquisition thing. I think Kepler's he's gonna prove to be a big acquisition.
Yeah, I really hope so. Kepler's he's had a good spring. We'll get into Kepler shortly because I think he could be bigger under the radar, an underrated acquisition for the Phils, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. Alex, what about you, buddy? Opening day, here we are again. What are your thoughts and feelings?
Dave, God forbid you run it back with a team that won the NL East. God forbid.
Right.
And run it back, dare I say, get better. Jesus Luzardo, Max Kepler, Brandon Marsh playing every day in center. Probably going to take a huge step forward. Bryson Stott, healthy, had a great spring. When your 8 and 9 hole hitters are guys that you're like, oh, these guys could actually just straight up turn into demons like midway through the season or start the season as demons. Bryson Stott already proved that he could be that with a 5-WAR season 2 years ago. Brandon Marsh is Brandon Marsh. If he can figure out lefties, the guy's going to be an insane everyday player. Easiest 2020 season probably of my life prediction right there. But I know we'll get to predictions later.
Coming early, coming early.
He had 14 home runs last year and almost stole 20 bags. Like
5th highest in the team.
He's definitely he's gonna do more than that this year. So I mean, especially when he's playing every day. I don't know. It is palpable. This is the best rotation they've had since 2011. This is the best lineup they've had since 2011. I mean, it is a really great baseball team, and I also think that, you know, I know we're far away from focusing on the trade deadline, but you know, Dave Dombrowski's not going to play it safe this year. I don't think they know internally. It's like, this is a championship year. Like, that's the expectation. And I don't think that that's necessarily like they've wanted to win before, but I think the thing I'm most excited for this season is like pressure's on a little bit. Early exit last year. Everyone's saying, you know, not that this core is not going to be around for much longer. You know, Kyle Schwarber, JT might stick around, right? But it's kind of now or, you know, you risk moving on with a different group of players. And they're still going to be incredibly competitive, but it's not the same team. And this team, the chemistry, the group of guys that you have, they're too special not to win one together, in my opinion. So I think this is the year, and I think they all know that, and I think they're going to act like it. Personally, that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, and Spencer, you've been down there in Clearwater. You've been in with the team. Last year, I got the vibes of it's ours. The big sound bites came out from the players, came out from the management. We're going to get our trophy back. It's business time. That's sort of gone away this year. And I think they're being careful with what they said last year with those sound bites, raising the bar for all the fans, getting people into a frenzy. Like, yeah, you know, we're going to come out all guns blazing. And they did. This year, it feels like the impression I'm getting is that they're going about the business quietly going about their business this year. Try not to get the sound bites out there. Just on the surface, obviously, it'll always come. Underneath what's going on behind the scenes, I like to think that they're still getting fired up. What's the vibe with what you detected down there in Clearwater? What are the vibes? What they like in it down there? You know, you get to see him practicing, you get to see him in these games, you get to see him in the locker room. How is it down there? What are you getting? What are you picking up?
Yeah, I think in terms of vibes, same old, same old. It's the same team. This group of guys, as Alex said, they're too good of a team and of people to not win a championship together. It's all lighthearted down there. Every single workout, people are messing around, and it's cool because you get to see different players interact with different people at each time. You know, because they kind of split up the workout groups in different fields and all that stuff. You got some at the half field, you got some at the big field, you got some in the back fields. But no matter what, it's not just like the same clique of guys hanging out. You know, you'll see different guys kind of intermingle with everybody. So that's been good. And I know Max Kepler, we talked to him. He said he hasn't felt this comfortable in a new setting. Obviously, he's been in Minnesota for half of his life, for 10 years there. And he came over when he signed when he was 16 and now he's 30. So half his life was in one spot. And now he said he's like, I've never been more comfortable in such a short amount of time than with this guys, and kind of getting the philosophy from everybody in the organization, whether that's players, whether it's front office, whether that's, you know, upper management. The philosophy that's been given to him has been, hey, we're winning, but it's also such a great group of guys. And talking to Schwarber and how, you know, he's reached out to Jesus Luzardo off the field. They've hung out a bunch. It's been great, man. In terms of what we've expected and what their expectations are, there's two things. This year, I think there's a chip on their shoulder. I know that's easier said than, or it's kind of obvious that that's the thing, but they can tell. You know, we talked to Nick Castellanos down there too, and we kind of were saying, hey, you're not even the favorite to win the division this year. You're behind the Braves and the Mets to win the division. He did not care. He didn't seem to care, and that's kind of the vibe that everyone else that we've talked to is kind of, you know, saying the same thing. But I'll tell you one thing. We asked everybody kind of the same question. I know even before we got down there, this was kind of the main talking point, but everybody said that seeing the Eagles win that Super Bowl and the parade and everything that came after that has kind of took off like a rocket ship in their minds in terms of that's what they want. They see how the city responded. They talk, you know, some of the Eagles guys have talked with the Phillies guys. They've reached out to Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and all those guys. And that championship mentality has now driven over the Phillies. And I think, you know, just seeing whatever happened where the city has come together after an Eagles Super Bowl, they want that. And that's been a clear message throughout the spring so far. So I think the chip on the shoulder, but it's also a little motivation, you know, seeing the Eagles win that Super Bowl. Now it's like, okay, we want this same exact vibe to happen for us. And hopefully this is the year that they can do it.
Oh, can you imagine the same year Eagles winning the Super Bowl?
Came close a few years ago.
And then the
really
Sixers
did, yeah.
winning. Oh,
Mm-mm.
Never mind.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, the Sixers we're not worried about at all right now.
In fact, great
Yeah.
distraction. Great
Yeah,
distraction coming up.
It really is.
Exactly.
Who's impressed you down there, Spencer? Like, who's really caught your eye? Like, from obviously us watching the screens, Bryson Stott is already showing signs that he means business. He wants this bounce back. Bowman's had a great spring. Kepler's really, like you said, settled in. He's also looked like he's had a great spring. Pitching wise, Lizardo, he's been rocked a little bit, but he's been trying different pitches. I'm not worried. But who's caught your eye slightly under the radar? You think, you know, he's looking good.
Yeah, I think Max is the perfect example right now. I think, all offseason we kind of said that they needed a right-handed bat, and they went out and got a left-handed bat in Kepler. But the way he's handling himself, and he's such a big dude, you don't really see it. And then all of a sudden you get up to him and you're like, okay, wow, you're actually a massive human being and like jacked. I think he's going to be outstanding addition to this team. A name that kind of has gone under the radar, and I don't know, it sounds like he might not make the opening day roster after the addition with Carlos Hernandez from the Royals and with Ranger going on the IL and Taiwan kind of moving up to that spot. But the Bill Chrismat really, really caught my eye. One, great human being. It was one of those guys that he introduced himself to me the first day I got down there and then kind of checked in on me you don't really get too many guys that do that. That was really cool. But his spring stats, I mean, he started a game against the Braves, I think a week ago, and got into trouble early. And, starting these games is a big talking point with Rod Thompson in terms of, you want to see how you can handle the pressure. Hey, the pitching depth is there, but if you are needed to start a game in July, we need to see how you can handle things. And he ran into trouble against the Braves, like top of their guys, and got out of it, pitched 4 innings, threw, I think, like 40 to 50 pitches as well. And he looked really good. They've kind of relied on him a lot. I don't have the stats pulled up right now, but I know he appeared in a good amount of games down in spring. So that's a guy, kind of under the radar guy. Stinks that he won't be on the opening day roster, but don't be surprised to see Nabil Chrismat at some point on this roster come, depending, maybe mid-season at some point, or maybe even before that, depending on injuries.
That's the thing. We have got some, and I'm going to pan for Alex, who I know is.
I've got him if you want him.
You got him. Go on.
I saw him looking straight away. I saw the little flash. Like he's looking.
10. I had the spring stats up anyway. 10 2/3 innings, 2.53 ERA. He struck out, looks like 8, but I mean he only walked 1. I heard so many stories from when he was in San Diego. So many of my friends over there, they rave about exactly what Spencer's saying. Just a great guy, really, and like no matter what situation you put him in, he's kind of like Ranger in that way. Like he's not going to blow you away with stuff, but anytime you need him, he's ready and he wants it. And I think that's kind of like oh my goodness, who was that in the Gabe Kapler era? Was it Blake? Oh, who was it? Oh, I can't remember. But the guy had an insane one-off year and he kept asking for the ball and just kept wanting to. He went to the Twins afterwards. Can't remember the name. It's fine. But he reminds me of that kind of guy that is just going to hungrily ask for the opportunity. And I think also the fact that he's remaining in the org, is huge boon for the Phillies. Same with John McMillan. Like all of these guys that they brought in on minors deals that are going to stay in the org. It's like that pitching depth in Lehigh Valley is, I mean, if some of those guys can take some steps forward, it's pretty strong. You're looking at a rotation that has like Seth Johnson, Mick Abel, Alan Rangel is down there now. Andrew Painter's going to be up there at some point. Like that rotation is yowza. That's some good stuff.
I know we keep saying it on the show, but
was it Chassé going to be there?
I can't wait to get down to Lehigh Valley to see a game when I'm there in June. Like, imagine if Painter's pitching. Like
you're gonna have Otto Kemp on the
infield. Kemp, Gabriel Rincones.
You're gonna have some guys.
Yeah, Crawford's just being called up as well to AAA.
It's true.
It's stacked. In fact, we're gonna struggle to get tickets. It's gonna be.
They're gonna have some good guys down there.
We are, and that's what everyone's stressing about Walker. Well, he's gonna be here for half a year. You less than that.
I don't know. That's bold of you to say.
And once Suarez comes back in 3 starts time, I presume he'll take. Well, it's
going to be an interesting.
If he,
I was just talking about that with some people the other day. I don't know. It's going to be
Are you
kind of
gonna,
like a. It's kind of like a who's the odd man out. I don't think it's going to be Taiwan. I think it's
I don't think so either.
you're probably looking at like I hate to put people's names out there like this, but like it's either probably like Tanner Banks is the only guy with options that's not Orion Kirkering.
I was going to say the options are slim apart from Banks and Kirkering won't go down.
Yeah, it's really it's slim, and then it could also be I don't know, somebody that if I don't want to put names out there, I don't like doing that, but I think that it's people are going to be upset that it's not going to be Taiwan, but it's probably not going to be Taiwan specifically because he's the first guy up when somebody experiences an injury or they have to skip somebody's start or something like that. He's obviously the guy that they're turning to at this moment in time.
So was I reading right that they're going to try and go Wheeler 2 starts before Walker gets in here? Because I think we have 2 days off.
Yes, they have an exorbitant amount of days off, which is great.
It's great. We're going Wheeler, Luzardo, Nola for the first series, and Chris Sanchez home opener. I like that move. I think it's a great nod to the cap and a hats off for Sanchez for the season and the progress he's making. I'm really happy. And then Wheeler again, and then Walker, and then we go to Luzardo, Nola, Sanchez, I presume, for the Dodgers series. It's still a damn good rotation. It's still, I would say, guys, I'd say the best in the NL at least, right?
I think it's the best in baseball.
Way ahead of the Mets.
If you boil it down to the 6 best pitchers that can pitch at length, that like you are looking at the top right-handed pitching prospect in baseball being your number 6. It's like that's insane. That's nuts. And I don't know. That's why I don't understand the favorites, the odds, the whatever. How can you look at this pitching staff and not like pitching wins championships? How could you not be like, oh yeah, when you compare it to the Mets who have Griffin Canning going at number 2 right now, and then the
that
Braves
rotation is not good. No,
the Braves, Reynaldo Lopez is like had a really scary spring. Chris Sale is Chris Sale, but how long is that going to stay the way it is? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you can look at this team and not think that they're going to win the NL East, but that's just me.
Who do you think? What are the predictions? I'll ask you all. I'll start with you, Richard. Who do you think is going to be the most valuable pitcher this year for the Phillies?
The obvious one's obviously Zach Wheeler. Like I hope he finally gets that Cy Young, that he deserves. If we're going for like a less obvious answer, I think Kirkering's going to have a big year. I think he's really going to step forward. So I would say, because obviously Zach's only going to play one, every 5 games or so. So I'm going to say overall Kirkering's going to be the most valuable.
I like that. Spencer, what about you?
I said off the top, I think you ride the coattails off how well Jesus Luzardo pitches. And if he can give you exactly what you're expecting him to give, then you're going to be in good shape. Speaking of Richards, Kirkering, that's another guy that finally seeing him kind of settle in. He's joking a lot more. That was the most outgoing I've seen Orion Kirkering over the last 2 seasons that I've got to know him. Just like messing around, was playing ping pong with Liam in the clubhouse, was having just a good time joking around with Jose Alvarado. Expect a big year from Kirkering as well. I'm really excited to see Orion, and he might even take that closing job at some point.
That was my next question. I was lining up. Who do we see as the closer? Like Kirkering, Alvarado are probably the 2 favorites. Romano, I can't see Romano. It's going to be Alvarado or Kirkering, isn't it? Surely.
I'm hurt that you don't see Jordan Romano.
Do you not? Yeah, I don't know.
I saw your face as soon as you named
genuinely, I don't think. I watched Jordan Romano as a Toronto Blue Jay for years, wishing, God, I wish that were me. I wish somebody could give me a bullpen arm like that. And lo and behold,
here we are.
Santa Dombrowski brought me what I wanted. Granted, he's coming off an injured year. I totally understand, reason for taking it slow. That guy, when he's on the mound, he's an animal. Yeah. He's an animal. He's an actual beast, and he goes after people, and he pitches with so much confidence. I think that what we've seen in spring is one gear. I think as soon as the season starts, it's another gear. It's another gear. As long as he's healthy and as long as he's, his stuff is feeling good, I think that's, to me, that's the clear cut,
Really,
that's your guy. I think
down the line,
if he performs the way that he did in Toronto, 100,000%. I fully expect Romano to have a great year and the Phillies to have to issue him a qualifying offer. That is my expectation for Jordan.
This is another thing, again, let's think at the top of the show that people moan that we haven't got these big signings, but Kepler, Romano, these guys could be
Luzardo.
Exactly, Luzardo.
They did upgrade.
These are potential, but there's potential huge upgrades. Luzardo, if he gets anywhere back to his Cy Young potential before his injury, which he from the interviews I see of him, he really wants to get back there. Now he's in an organization that's contending. He's got that hunger. He's got a real hunger. It must be, and no disrespect to the Marlins, but it's got to be tough playing in a team where you're going to get battered around every game. It's every game's a struggle. Morale can't be that high in the camp. You're not going to be fighting for even playoffs. Now he's into that competitive environment where we have a legit shot at the World Series if we can click and get it right. And his juices just look flowing. And I know, as I said, he got rocked a bit in spring, but the good stuff was good.
I fear with the Marlins, really good. How I'm not trying to criticize the organization here, but at the same time, if any organization deserves criticism, it's that one over these last few years. Good Lord. They fired, they didn't fire him, but they let Mel Stottlemyre Jr. walk. Mel Stottlemyre Jr., who is perhaps one of the best pitching coaches in the sport. Who knows? Whatever was going on last year with communication in that organization, I have no idea. But it feels like, if you're going to let that guy go, the guy that has made a majority of your pitchers what they are, there's some sort of organizational thing that's not making its way to the major league level. And I think Luzardo will really benefit from being under somebody like Caleb Cotham, who has just been a wizard over these last few years, truly. So
very quickly, Alex, your most valuable pitcher for the Phils this year, Romano?
I think similar to what Spencer's saying, but in a different light, I think Aaron Nola has kind of got to be your tone setter. He's going to pitch 220 innings this year. I mean, barring anything serious health-wise, knock on wood, but also at the same time, he's been like the healthiest pitcher in baseball over the last 8 years. I think that if he can be the same guy really that he was last year, but even more so if he can continue to take strides back towards, that ace status that we've seen of him, that's going to be your most important guy. And I think that he will. I really do. I think that as years go by, he's really just becoming more of a crafty, veteran presence. That knuckle curve is one of the nastiest pitchers that any starter throws. If he can continue to kind of implement the cutter correctly, make sure that changeup is dancing out away from lefties, and really keep the fastball in on the hands. I mean, he's gonna be your guy, and he's a workhorse. He just is. So the more that he can set that tone and take some pressure off of Zach Wheeler, I think the more you're gonna see this rotation really, sparkle, because it is kind of the centerpiece of this whole operation.
And yeah, it's crazy that Nola could be fourth in the rotation. It's that Sanchez, who I think is going to be our most valuable pitcher. I really feel that he could get to that level where, why not Cy Young contention? Why not in the conversation at least? If he really stays in that trajectory that he's on, I am so excited to see Chris Sanchez this year. Like he's just what a signing, again, a masterstroke. An absolute masterstroke, and what he could become. I think what he's going to become this year again just gets me so excited for this rotation. We've all just named 4 different pitchers who could be the most valuable pitcher. That shows the depth we have.
Shout out Curtis Mead for making the Rays opening day roster. Shout out, good for him. Killed it this spring, but he's not Christopher Sanchez.
And then we just hope that when Suarez does come back, I don't know what we're going to get out of him. I'm not going to worry too hard on it. what will be with Ranger Suarez.
He's
I
ice
hope he
cold.
can stay healthy and give us something of the old Ranger. I'm fingers crossed. It'll be huge. It'll be massive if we could have Ranger healthy back to anywhere near his best. And then we've got Wheeler Luzardo, Nola, Sanchez, Suarez, and Andrew Painter on the way. Lights out. It's done. Quick, very, very quickly, Carlos Hernandez. What are we getting with Carlos, boys? I know nothing about this guy.
He's the model. He's exactly what they've looked at over the last, and prioritized over the last like 4 years or so. Throws really, really hard. Has control and command struggles here and there, but his fastball, he gets insanely good extension, and the fastball is already playing up in the upper 90s. I mean, that thing's got to look like it's coming in at like 106, 107. It's an exciting arm if you can harness what he is. But that's kind of what I was alluding to before. It's a good 2-week look at an arm that, had a good year last year, saw good results, needs to hone in the command a little bit more. But he's kind of like, you'll get a good 2-week look at him. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, maybe when Ranger comes back, he's the guy that's on the way out. And maybe you can hope to stash him, in AAA should he pass through waivers. I kind of doubt it.
So Spencer, another low risk, potential good high reward move from the Phillies.
Yeah, it's not much of a gamble for them. He's a big dude, 6'4", 255.
Yeah.
As Alex said, he's literally like the staple. His fastball averaged like 98 last season. So, and he came in a lot of like high leverage situations. So that's always good to see. So why not? Why not give him a shot? And like Alex said, if a month in he's not giving what you expect out of him, okay, you took a gamble on him, and it's not too much. But yeah, I mean, he can hit 100 if he wants to. He did start a few games, I think. I want to say like 11 games at some point. So that's another option if you want to, but he has been kind of transitioning to that high leverage bullpen role for the Royals last season. So yeah, I'm completely okay with it. He kind of solidifies that 8-man bullpen now. So yeah, it's just more depth. Again, we've been saying it all offseason that there's so much pitching depth with this team. And I think adding just another guy like that, a hard thrower, just a big dude, why not? And you throw another righty in there too. So yeah, I'm okay with it.
I think they did need, one more righty or one more guy that can handle middle innings, maybe can transition to late innings, righty. And then a guy with a 3.30 ERA last year hits the waiver wire. Like what? Why? Not that I'm a big on paper
that was his ERA,
guy.
3.30?
Yes.
Why
he had a great year last year.
That's a good year.
He had a great year. I was like, what is happening here? But who's to say?
But on the flip side of that, by the way, and all the best to Tyler Phillips, it just shows how quickly
I hope he stays in the org. I really do.
I really do. It'd be really, especially the memories, the incredible moment that he had last year. That emotional post-game interview with T-Mac. Man, it's amazing that how things can quickly change. But I really hope, like you said, Alex, he can stay in the organization. Is he on waivers now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we'll find out soon then. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Real quick on Tyler. I got a chance to talk to him down there, and the poor guy. He just was not himself. We talked a lot about confidence, and he was telling me a story about when he was in AAA. He started losing it when he came up to the big leagues. The confidence was sky high, and he even was talking about, you're facing Freddie Freeman, a guy that he's watched his entire life, and then you come in here and you're like, all right, you know what? You're not as good as what I thought you were going to be. I'm going to strike you out. That confidence was there, and then it kind of dipped when he got sent back down to AAA last season. And I guess he was telling me a story about how his AAA pitching coach, I forget the guy's name, I guess came in and was like, hey, it was Brett Beatty. He was facing Brett Beatty in AAA. And he was like, oh, Beatty just told me you're a nobody, is the kind words I guess I can say, the NSFW way to say it. And he went out there and struck him out 98, 98, 99 on the outside corner. So, but he said he couldn't find that confidence. And I know he was kind of talking about, just having that on the back of his mind where he's out options and he knows if he doesn't pitch well, and he just couldn't find that confidence this spring. So I'm hoping he stays in the organization. But again, a lot of upside for him. It wouldn't surprise me if someone like the Marlins or even like the Nationals take a flyer on him.
No,
so
bring him back. Bring him back.
No, people on Twitter kept replying to me every time I would say that he's, a team's definitely going to want to take a shot. This guy has proven at the major league level he can pitch. And I was just like, there's no way. And everybody's like, why would anybody want a 7 ERA? I'm like, come on, man. Like, you can't be serious. You cannot. But
he showed what he can do. He's
great. And at the same time, awesome guy. I really hope he sticks around. But at the same time, he has been with this organization. Trivia question. Spencer, you probably know. But
come on,
Dave, Richard, do you remember where Tyler Phillips came from?
Reds?
Remember how that came about?
No, not a clue. I'm not gonna lie, not a clue.
The Spencer Howard trade.
No, the ones
Spencer Howard
the Rangers
for Kyle Gibson. Oh, come on! Don't do this to me now.
Brandon Workman?
Oh,
Gibby.
No.
No,
It was Ian Kennedy.
Ian Kennedy.
Kyle
That's
Gibson,
that. Yeah.
And oh my goodness, the pitching prospect who is
the crazy guy.
Yes.
Hans
Kraus. Hans Kraus. Tyler Phillips. Unbelievable. He's been with the organization since, what was that, 2021?
I want to say one. Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a long time. And you could kind of see it with the confidence. He was dancing around the zone a lot. He was really trying to play it safe, trying to pitch his way into a spot. And, I hope the best for him. It's such an awesome, awesome story and such a great guy. Really hope he sticks around.
How baseball changes. Like Spencer Howard was the big prospect, the big hope, wasn't he?
I don't want to talk about it.
He ate one too many bananas one night, dude, and that kind of ended his.
I don't want to talk about it.
Do you remember that when he was like, "I can't eat before games. I can only have one banana."
The thing that sticks out in my brain, I think the craziest story ever is Spencer. I think it was High A Lakewood that Spencer went out for the championship game and threw like 7 outs worth of just insane octane, crazy. This was the thing that like cemented. They were like, okay, this guy's it. And I remember from that night, never the same guy again. Yep. Never the same guy. I was like, well, no, I think he hurt himself. I think he went out there. He just said, screw it. I'm going to give it everything that I have so we can win this championship. And never the same. I remember watching that outing and I was like, wow, this guy rocks. And then I was like, where'd that guy go? It was like short rest. Oh, so annoying.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. I know
we've covered it at great length down the years. All right, so we've established that the pitching is going to win us the championship. So the hitting. First of all, we all agree that Marchand for Stubbs was the right move because social media, it took us a lot of backlash. Like, I was really surprised. It makes every bit of sense to me. Stubbs is still in the organization, which is key, and I think always will be. But Marchand, JT's workload is going to come down. It's Marchand's time to shine if he can stay healthy. I like the move, and Marchand is probably going to be a better player than Stubbs, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please. I'm with you.
It's an upgrade, right? I think it's an upgrade. I know Stubbs has had a good spring, but Marchand's has also been pretty decent so far.
Had the hardest tracked hit ball of his career today.
The double?
104.1. Yep, his previous was 103.3. So he's only getting better. That's the other thing too. I was shocked looking at some of his periphery metrics today. I knew this as when he was a prospect, we knew this, but like seeing it translate to the major league level, he makes so much contact. He is like up there with in his short sample size last year, 50 something plate appearances. He was up there with like in the 97 to 99th percentile on whiff, strikeout percent, sweet spot rating, like all the juicy things that you want to see and that you see on the only red stuff on Luis Arraez's Baseball Savant page. You see it on his too, which is like, he's never going to hit for, an insane amount of power, but he places his hits really well. And he really is a contact first guy. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say that he's someone you can look to if JT Realmuto does leave in free agency. He's somebody you can look to be taking on the bulk of the catching responsibility, in the post Realmuto era, whenever that is going to be.
What would be a good JT season for us guys? What would we've hardly heard from him at all this off season. A name not really mentioned much, but what would Spencer, Richard? What would you two regard as a good year for JT? What would you like to see out of him?
Go, Richard.
I was going to say, I'm going to let you go first, and then I can just make your ideas and say, yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
No, I mean, we talked to him down there, and he basically and Kevin Long said the same thing. They want to see him get the power back. Yep. We saw him spread out the field last year, and obviously dealt with the meniscus injury, so that didn't really help. But if he gets that power back, and he said he really wants to get that power back, so I know, if we see him 25 to 30, that's an extraordinary season. For JT Realmuto, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to get, like I said, he wants to hit the ball out of the yard more. He's found that niche where he's spreading the ball out over the field. But yeah, if you can give me, and that's the thing, we talked about it. I think he had like 2 or 3 stolen bases last season. Obviously, the meniscus derailed that early, but if you can start to see him swiping some more bags, I do think we are going to see less of him catching. I know Rob Thompson said that he had the conversation with JT. It didn't go as well as Rob wanted it to, but because JT, he's going to want to play every day. So, but I think we will see less of him, just because you're not going to win the World Series in April and May and June. You're going to win the World Series in August, September, and October. So if you have a healthy JT Realmuto down that stretch and he's performing the way that we expect him to perform, say, give me like 270 with like an 800, 700 OPS, I'm happy. I'm happy with that. Happily take that
all day.
But that only happens if he can stay healthy throughout that season.
Yeah, key. Richard, JT.
He needs more power.
Good answer.
He had the injury last year.
Over and under 25.5 home runs for JT. What are you taking, the over or the under?
I'm going under on that. I think he's not going to have as much game time, so I'm gonna go under.
Alex,
but I think he's going to have a good year.
I'd go under, but I think there's reason to be optimistic about him, particularly where he is in the lineup these days. I think if you go ahead, Rich.
If you took like an average and like split it over, like if he played every day, then yeah, he'd do it. I know that's a different thing, but
we obviously don't know really what the lineup situation is looking like at this moment. It seems like we're trying on different things. Who's to say? Apparently, Dave Dombrowski says it doesn't really make that much of a difference. I don't know if I agree, but we're going to find out. But especially where he's slated to be hitting in the lineup these days, he's got so much protection. And I think that he will be underestimated a lot. The only thing I want to see from him is, for goodness sakes, stop fishing on that low and away slider, please. Him and Nick Castellanos both. I'm begging. But at the same time, Spencer's exactly right. He was hitting the ball everywhere last year, and that's really interesting to see. I know he'll probably try and tap more into the pull, but he's, again, still one of the best catchers in the sport, and he's hitting 7th, 6th for you. That is still a pretty... And
then potentially stop Marsh, stop probably ahead, but Marsh behind you, if Marsh has a good year.
Marsh might even be 9. He was 9 yesterday, right?
Yes,
so, you never know. So I just think that you look at players like that and you tend to get comfortable with them because you know them so well. They're still great baseball players. Like JT Realmuto is still a really good baseball player. Do I think he'll hit 25 home runs?
He was 9 today as well, Branch.
Yeah. Do I think he'll hit 25 home runs? Probably not. But do I think a 270 with a 780 OPS is possible? Absolutely, is JT Realmuto. Just because he's getting older doesn't mean he's swinging the bat any differently.
Right.
I mean, it can, but it doesn't. So,
anyway. Alec Bohm, we've covered to death on the preseason pods. He's having a great spring.
So happy for him.
Fingers crossed. God, take this through to the season, Alec. Come on, really show the doubters. And I think it'd be great for him if he starts the season strong, especially with his head. just get him in, just get him locked in early. Stott, we've also covered quite a lot in the off season so far, and what a fantastic spring he's had. I'm going to go for a bit of a hot take that Stott's going to have a fantastic first half of the year. He could be very much batting leadoff by midway point of the season.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Speed
like
on the
it.
bases, highest was he? I think it was
That would
highest
be-
on bases last season. He gets his contact back. Imagine him going back to back with Trey. Or
That'd be ideal.
And that's the thing. We talked about it with Bohm and Stott. The injuries definitely. We didn't know about Stott's injury until January when they had the presser before they went down there, and then he talked about it at length. And I actually went back and found out we're down in Miami in end of May there. I guess it was either middle of May, end of May of last season, where he completely swung, and you can see he kind of just like shakes out his elbow.
Yep.
To be honest, man, it's funny. I've done my in-depth analysis, and if you look back at like players that when they have their first child, that's what I thought it was going to be, because when they have their first child, their numbers have dipped hard and then they come back up. And I thought, having a baby is a huge deal, obviously. And I thought that was derailing him a little bit. Just, your focus isn't as much as on baseball as it could be. Obviously, rightly so. You have a human being that you're trying to take care of as well. But I thought that was it. But then I think that elbow injury hurt him a lot. And we talked to Kevin Long down in spring training as well. And he said that hand injury with Bohm completely hurt him. We also can't forget that he was an all-star last season. He was still an all-star. See, they were fine. But that whatever hand injury he had affected him a lot more than what people think.
Yep.
And
they always
was stunned at the time.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the injury list. Like
Exactly.
everyone was, and even during the game, they're talking about surgery. It was in that bone that you don't need, and and then he went back out 2 days later and carried on. And you could see he was discomfort and in pain.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get why we carried him on playing him, but he was never the same player. And I think in turn that contributed to then him sliding mentally, because he was injured. He wasn't performing well. The fans were getting on his back. Everything just started to spiral.
That ridiculous foul ball call didn't help as well when he hit it down the line and they said it was a foul.
It wasn't a foul.
But anything that's always the pattern, is anything hand or lead elbow related is always it is so hard to, especially in season, like adjust around, because you can't. It just hurts every time you swing.
Bowman was probably on for 110 RBI a season at the time. With the injury really derailed him, but he was on for a big year.
I think they're both going to be just fine. I think all three of them. I think we're done calling them the daycare now. I know, but I think that daycare is going to explode this year. I think they are going to be three of the better players on this roster this year, which is really exciting.
We said, I think it was 2 shows ago, about Rojas, Marsh. They both sort of need to play every day to see the ball more, to get into a groove. It looks like Marsh is going to take the primary starting spot. What that means for Rojas, I don't think it's too good. Rojas needs to also be playing every day. But what do you do? It's that dilemma. However, there is more hitting potential in Marsh. He's also not a bad defender either. No, not on Rojas's speed, but he's good enough to be on the outfield. But Rojas, do you see him going? Has he got the options?
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah, he sure does.
But what would you do? Would you rather have him playing every day in AAA than him sat on the bench, like pinch hitting every so often if Marsh can get every day? What would you do?
I'm not sure I buy this whole Marsh, like every single thing. Unless he's really improved his hitting against lefties. I don't know. I just can't. I can't see it.
You think
he's done well this spring. I mean, granted, 2 of those hits are like cue shots, and
I was gonna say
very lucky. But he has done well against lefties this spring. His approach has at least gotten better. I think they'll be pretty liberal with how they use Johan, though. I think
I think Rojas is going to play a lot still.
I mean, Nick Castellanos, if Nick gets up in the 8th inning and is done theoretically with hitting for the day, Johan's probably going out there. That's my opinion. I don't think you keep him on the opening day roster unless you are really going to use him as that like 4th outfielder defensive replacement. Like, you need somebody of his skill set, and they do. For me, as somebody who again, I get very sentimental about Johan Rojas because really my big first, I saw him as a 17-year-old and I was like, wow, I like this kid. And he became what he became. But I would prefer he get everyday opportunities. But this is a team trying to win a championship. The rules go out the window. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your development path is. It doesn't matter any of those things. It's how can you help this team right now on this day? And there's nobody in free agency that is going to do for you what Johan Rojas can do for you because those guys always get snapped up every time.
Spencer, what's the vibe you're getting in Clearwater with the Rojas Marsh situation?
Well, first off, the big number change. I was
23, right?
Yeah, come on, Mr. Scoops.
I know it was a scoop.
Let's go.
Yeah.
The streets are saying.
It was so silly. Well, and like when I got told that, and I went immediately down to the clubhouse and was like, all right, his nameplate still says 18. Every jersey says 18. I was like, I don't know. Like it's a trusty source. It's so stupid. But like, and it's funny because what I was told was like, they were freaking out back here because they have all the signage up here where it's 18. And it's like, oh my God, now we got to take everything down and put it new back up with a little Photoshop. But in terms of Rojas, we didn't see him in the outfield. Obviously, he was dealing with that injury that he suffered in the Caribbean League or Dominican League, Winter League, we'll call it the Winter League. So that but like we didn't need to see him. We know what he can be defensively. We know that he is maybe top 5 in the National League, at least, defender in the outfield. Now it comes down to he's still getting older, right? He's getting more at-bats. He's getting older. We need to see him perform at the plate. I don't know if playing him every day, like Alex said, I don't know if sending him down to AAA is the right move because exactly, piggybacking off what Alex said, you need every piece of this puzzle to succeed in a way that can get you to a World Series. And I believe that he's a big integral part of that because, like you said, and that kind of goes back to the whole Cody Clemens making the team today. They needed another right-handed bat, in my opinion. Yep. But it's still like, I don't know who you're going to pinch. You're not going to pinch in for JT or Trey late in the games for Cody Clemens or Johan Rojas. But Nick Castellanos, Max Kepler, you switch that righty-lefty. He's going to be a huge integral part of this team regardless. I don't think, maybe Marshall play every day, but it still like what Richard said. I don't know if it'll be to the extent of every day where we don't see Johan Rojas unless it's coming off the bench. I think you'll still see Johan start a good amount of games, but it won't be as much as I think what people are expecting.
But again, it'd be huge if he had a good average. Just get on base because his speed is destructive. Him, Turner, Stott, all in the lineup, like stolen bases,
pinch running, and all these things. Like it becomes, it's so important when you're trying to win by the margins, and that is really, in the aggregate, he's the best option that you have for all of those things. And like Spencer said about Cody Clemens, you look on paper and you're like, whatever. But that guy, you cannot teach the clutch gene, the situational awareness, the whatever, right? He just, every time he comes to the plate, you seem to just know that he's going to do something, right? And what was it in 23 where he was starting and because somebody went down. Who went down? Oh, Bryce went down, right? Yes, and Cody Clemens was playing first base. And you were like, well, Bryce, take your time. Cody Clemens is raking right now, right? And he's just that guy that you can rely on him to do something. And also, he just so happens to fill the requirements of the coverage spaces that they need. But he's a guy. He is a guy, and I think that the right-handed bat. If Max Kepler proves to not be what you were looking for, you've got the deadline for exactly that. Or what if Otto Kemp just says, "Hey, by the way, I'm just going to destroy AAA real quick and then, make my way to the major league roster." Who's to say, right? But it is about, like Spencer said, I think that's the best way to say it. You need all your puzzle pieces. Otherwise, you're not putting a full picture together, right? And Can
I just ask quickly? I know we've got more predictions to go through. Just if you're clipping a little bit for this, any socials, use the bit where Spencer said, like Richard said. Because all the time it's Alex saying I agree with Spencer, or Spencer saying I agree with Alex, and that's the thing. It's like Richard, I was like, it's happened. I'm lit.
No, Rick,
just use that.
You're killing.
Alex doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
we know what we're doing here.
Like Richard said, I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's the clip.
Bryce, we know what he can do. Just again, we need him to stay healthy. The talk of him going back to right field, I don't like it. I don't like any of it. He blows his arm every time he's out there. His throwing style is horribly aggressive. I don't like the risk of him even potentially getting injured out there. I don't know what you guys think, but I keep him at first. He's a class first baseman. Why would you move one of the best first basemen in baseball out of there back into right field? And who do you put him there? I don't get even the talk. Why would you even approach Bryce with this? I don't get this side of it.
You can clip this, and I clip it if you want.
Oh.
I guarantee you Bryce Harper would not play in the outfield for the extended future anytime soon, unless they sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Hey,
that is the only chance we see Bryce Harper in right field. Maybe down the stretch when he's 40, sure, possibly. That guy's put in too much time and effort at first base. Way too much time and effort. I was getting there, down in spring training. This is last year too, even this year as well. I was getting there super early. You have to be, the clubhouse opens at 8:30. I'm there at 7:30. He was already sweating and going through first base drills with Bobby Dickerson way before anyone else was there. The guy is committed to first base. And again, if you want to clip this too, that's your 2025 National League MVP.
Yeah, baby.
Oh,
that's right.
I actually my clip just stolen.
Agree.
I'm going to
sorry, Richard.
I completely agree.
Bryce Harper's going 60 for 60. Clip that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Shohei who. But no, I think the thing I love about him playing first base, and I think they inadvertently arrived at this, he doesn't have the chance to put his body on the line, which is like so big because he will do it. Yes. He will do it, and that's awesome. But he will do it. And that's not what you want from, again, your 2025 National League MVP. And perhaps, your Triple Crown winner and all those things. You don't want that, right? Even though it's cool that he will do it. But no, I completely agree. I don't think he's seen the.
You can't move him. Like Reese died for this. Reese left.
They don't need Vlad Jr. They're signing Kyle Tucker. It's fine. It's
Alex,
fine.
When that comes off, we'll do an emergency pod just so you can have your moment.
Don't worry. Signing Kyle.
I've got a feeling that Bryce is going to start. I'm with you, Spence. I've got a good feeling about Bryce this year. Stays healthy. Over under on what was my prediction? Oh no, I had this ready.
I think it was.
I was quite low. I'm going to put it at 35. 35 home runs.
Over.
Oh no, you went 32.
Over.
I'm smashing
the over.
Over.
Smashing it.
Richard.
I'm going under, but not by.
yeah.
I'm smashing the over.
But Dave, like you said, and this is what I've been saying all offseason, he's not learning a new position. He's completely healthy. There's no other different things. He knows he can feel the pressure. All he cares about is winning a friggin' World Series. Yeah. That's all he cares about.
Every single game is going to be game 162 for him.
Correct.
All right. Every single
when
one.
I say under, like he's still going to be lights out. Like he's still going to have a great season.
Yeah.
I don't. That's the thing.
I'm not being like, he's only hitting 10 this year. He's washed. Like, no, he's great.
Like, truthfully, realistically, which is a crazy way to talk about this. I think it's 38, 312 with 110 RBIs.
Yes, sir.
All-star batting titles, Gold Glove at first base. Just throw them all in.
And there's still that guy now in LA that we still have to worry about in terms of MVP races, especially if he gets back on the mound. But
how many pitches is he realistically throwing this year? Come on, like
about 2 before he hits.
I love him. But there's only so much time where that's going to be an applicable.
And don't forget the Dodgers have a renowned rep for injuries, don't they?
Well, I don't wish that upon.
I'm not going to say, but I'm
certainly
saying,
not my king. I love
niggle
Shohei,
and the niggle in his arm.
But
they ain't going to push him too hard, are they?
Spencer, I have a question for you because in spring, I don't know if it's because it's spring. I don't know what is going on there. It looks like he's making a concerted effort to swing less aggressively. The 2-strike approach is definitely different. It's always been good, but it's definitely different. And then it looks like he's cutting down the aggression in the swing, which is fascinating because never did I think I'd live to see the day.
Yep. Here's the thing. As long as he sticks with that throughout the season, I've seen it before where he calms it down, he changes his stance and does all that stuff and shortens up the lead leg. Yes, I saw the same exact thing. And that's the thing. He's shortening the swing too, and he's still hitting the ball 110 miles per hour. There's a few of those doubles that are still going. I forget the first game that we got down there too. I was March 8th or whenever I went down there. But his first at bat, it was loud, and it was a fly out to right, but it was loud. And then his next at bat, he did the same exact thing, pulled a ball down the line, and got the second without any hesitation. So I'm with you on that. There is definitely less aggression. Again, I've seen it before, and I know. Because he gets to that where he feels like he has to. He feels like he, especially if he's not performing well, and I think he knows the expectations for himself this season. So as long as he doesn't go into that slump of like, oh, I'm doing too much, and then he does too much,
right,
he'll be fine. But yeah, everything that Kevin Long has been talking about and seeing it in games and even in batting practice, it's there. So if he can continue that,
people forget good of a pure hitter he is. I mean, he's insane. Anyway,
the whole spring, I was going to say the approach from all of them, like the walks have been insane this spring. Like they're staying off pitches. Dare I touch wood again when it comes to the season, when the adrenaline's really pumping, when we're in real live situations, competitive games. We know it can all go out the window. We've seen it, but it looks like they're making a more conservative effort in spring training to get this right. Take the walks.
Your team leader in walks, by the way. Anybody any guesses?
Bryson Stott?
No.
Trey?
No. It's Brandon Marsh.
Wow.
Brandon Marsh with 15 to 9 strikeouts. Hi, Brandon Marsh.
All right. Very, very
Bryson
quickly,
is second.
Quickly on Trey. We're not too worried about his spring stats, are we? They're all reset now anyway. We go.
It was concerning at first, but then he started to get hot, just like everybody else there in the last 3 weeks here. So
also just another brilliant pure hitter. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I know he hasn't had that 9 WAR season that everybody really wanted to see from him, that he probably wasn't going to get anyway because he's not that kind of defender. But he's such a great hitter. Does nobody remember the World Baseball Classic? Does nobody remember?
Of course we do.
I was there.
For British Team GB reasons, more than anything else.
Real quick, 2 things on Trey. First is that the World Baseball Classic. We talked to Ryan Howard down there. He was down there for as special advisor, whatever you want to call it, and he was talking to Trey, and he told us that it was funny. He can tell when he's gripping the bat so tight.
Yeah. And
Ryan saw this and was like, "Dude, let go, loosen up." And since then, that's where he kind of went on this streak. So, because he said in the World Baseball Classic, you were so free and easy. Where did that go? And I guess Trey told Ryan that it was just the pressure. He feels this pressure from everybody that he started to tighten up a little bit. Then he started loosening up the grip, and look what his spring has become.
Kevin Long not spot that? Or is
I think he has. Kevin Long definitely does spot stuff like that. It's just depending on listening. Which leads perfectly to the second story. Him and Bobby Dickerson were going at it in the infield every single day. And there's so much tough love between those two. Oh, like arguments, yelling loud, fans standing there yelling loud profanities. And it was awesome. And it's all tough love, man. And it's all tough love. But I think, Trey hears everything from his defensive miscues. He hears all that stuff. He knows that he has been what he should be in the field.
But
again, watch out for another big season from that guy as well.
Sometimes,
here's my clip. Trey Turner, 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases.
Whoa!
30 home runs.
I like that. He had 25 last year. It's not.
It's 5 more, especially if he starts the season hotter than the last 2.
Yeah, and he'll get a few more at bats if he does start lead off. Not many, but a few.
But very. What's everyone's 1, 2, 3, 4 to your ideal in the lineup?
I think what they had today. Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Bohm. No, Turner, Harper, Bohm, Schwarber. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think
he looks very confused then. I'm very concerned. I
think that's the thing for me too. I think that's my ideal.
Would anyone have Kyle back at leadoff?
Sure.
I don't see why not.
He's proven that he can do it.
It's a great way to just say, okay, let's go back to that.
Yeah.
I just think he's gonna be devastating down the lineup, if you get runners on base, if he can just again relax, I don't know what is it a mentality thing? Why can he not seem to do it when he's not the top of the lineup? Like top of the lineup, nobody on. Usually at the very beginning of a game, bang, 1-0 start. But is it a different pressure mentality with runners on base? And I don't know.
You would think it'd be the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. You think it'd thrive when runners on base, bring these guys home, and it's really bizarre. But
it was funny. We were joking around here that, probably at the beginning of the season, there'll be strikeout, ground out, top 3, and then Short will come up and hit a lead off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, it's just, it's the same thing.
Back to normal.
Yeah.
On the Trey thing, really quickly, as I think that sometimes you need to hear the same thing from a different mouth in order for it to really click.
True.
And when it's the same,
like Ryan Howard.
Genuinely, but when it's the same person telling you the same thing over and over and over again, it can be really hard to let that sink in. When you hear it from somebody else, and it just different phrasing or a different set of words or whatever, same overall idea, but sometimes that just is what gets it to.
Like I listen to your takes every week, and I'm like, nah. Spencer comes.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Perfect.
Silly.
Okay, let's go with Trey. Over and under. I've got maybe conservative 35.5 stolen bases. Over or under, Alex?
I'm under. I hate to be under, but I'm under. Only because I think the Phillies are clearly really conservative with Trey, as they should be, because you need him. And I think that as he kind of gets older, at least while he's playing short, I think that they're going to continue to be a little bit more conservative because, I mean, as much as I love Edmundo Sosa, you really can't lose Trey. You kind of can't. The depth chart just doesn't allow it because Edmundo was great last year in his stead, but you don't want that. It's not ideal. So I think that they won't let him run as much, but I think he'll still steal, 25, 30 bags. I think it's less a Trey, can he do it thing, and more, will they let him do it?
Yeah. Richard, we already know you're going 40 with Trey, don't you?
No, I'm going under 30. I'm going under 35.5. But if it's over like 29.5, yeah, absolutely, because he's getting that 30-30 season. But I just don't think it.
Right.
They'll let him tip to 30, and then they're like, right, Trey, chill.
in the first month.
Yeah, let Bryce win the MVP. Like you'll get it.
Come on, Trey. Bad luck.
And 35.5.
3 years ago, I'd hit the over. Now, not so much.
Yeah,
I'll go under with that. Yeah, again, they're not going to push him as much. I think they're going to steal. I mean, we saw them come out firing out of the gates with a lot of stolen bases over the last few seasons, but now I think they'll still be aggressive. Maybe just not as much with him. Do I think over 25? Sure. 35, maybe
so.
tough.
Marshy's going to take him.
You can stay over 35.5, but that's all.
What does Stott have last season?
31, 32.
Yeah. Alec Boehm, 20.5 home runs. I would hope. All right, let's do 24.5 home runs. Alex,
that's fantastic.
I'm like
for all the
at
audio
21.
listeners. Like,
I'm at 21.
It's a small window.
I just think that he's, unless he adds significant, which he, to his credit, this spring, the majority of his home runs, including the one that didn't end up being a home run, were opposite field. So I think that if that power stroke finds its way into his incredible slap hitting ability, sure, like I will smash the over 1,000,000 times, but we just haven't seen that yet. So I can't confidently say that, but it's just a couple extra feet. Like I can't tell you how many times Alec Boehm has flown out to the right fielder, positioned perfectly, like just to grab that. Because normally if he were a pull hitter, that right fielder wouldn't be there. But the right fielder's just always positioned perfectly to snag his line drives, right? If he can elevate that a little bit more and add 2 feet worth of power to it, it's gone, right?
Let's also add in 99.5 RBIs.
Batting third, I'm going to take the over.
I healthy free. I think he hits the 100 RBI this year. Richard?
Yeah, over.
Over on both the 20,
over.
whatever we came to, home runs and Spencer, over on both.
I'll go over on, I'll go
RBI.
under 25.5. Yeah, I like the 22, 23 number, but yeah, if he can produce the way that we expect him to, a healthy Alec Boehm, yeah. I mean, he had 100. Did he have 100 last year, right? He did.
Did he?
Did he finish with 99?
Maybe 98
I
or
think
99.
he just
I'll tell
missed.
you.
I think the injury
Yeah.
really cost him.
Yeah, because he was on pace to have like
He
110
was
at one point.
easily on pace.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if I mean,
97.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think over on the RBIs. Yes.
He was our most clutch player for the majority of the season last season. You could always rely
Yeah.
on Bowman if there's runners on. Who'll be the most valuable hitter, Spencer?
Number 3.
Number 3. We'll go and Bryce. We're going Bryce is going to be the Richard. Richard's going to go. I can
I'm
see
going
him
Bryce,
thinking.
but I'm going to go again. I think when those late game situations, it's going to be Castellanos again.
I hope so.
I mean, he's definitely the most
walk-off
important.
hits last year. Like
He's the
in
most
clutch,
important.
but overall, over the
Yes,
course
for
of the
sure.
season, yeah, obviously it's Bryce. But I think like in terms of like memorable, like if you would say moments, like it's going to be Nick.
Nobody riding the Kepler Express?
Oh, hey, I'm high on that. Don't get me wrong. I'm very high.
Again,
on
it's like with the pitching, like it's an embarrassment of riches. Like what do you pick? It's not like
Right.
some teams you go, well,
It's
I mean, obviously it's clearly Bryce, but like outside of that, it could be
Stop.
No,
Bowman.
Castellanos is definitely the most important. That's for sure.
For sure.
He's important.
Are we high on Casty this year? We haven't mentioned him actually. Where
I
are
don't
we?
know.
I said a few weeks ago, like we need to talk about him. Like yeah, he's great.
If he doesn't perform, he's going to be traded.
And I mean, look what's happening. Like there's so many things going on in the world that which we won't talk about, but like there's so many opportunities for home runs there.
Yeah.
Like this is such a good year for home runs for Castellanos.
Yeah, Casty could go off this year.
Yeah. Well, I think he's the most important, but at the same time, you can't look at numbers when it comes to Nick Castellanos. You just can't. It's
Just
like,
look at the news.
well, just look at he's see-ball, hit ball. That's what he is.
Yeah, he honored BG the day BG retired.
Hit the home run.
It out the park.
Yeah.
It's like clockwork. Do you think Spencer Casty traded if we get production out? We've got the Crawford, maybe Rancones if he keeps performing down in the minors. You think it's an option?
I think it's a chance. I don't, but I'm high on Casty this year. Again, yes, like Alex said, again, what I said about Jesus, your boat can only go as fast as what Jesus produces. Same as Nick.
Yep, agreed.
You know that you're going to get some good years out of, especially the daycare guys. And then obviously Bryce and Kyle and Trey as well. But if Nick can produce the way that we know Nick Castellanos can produce, again, he's going to go on those cold streaks. That's fine. He might even start the season cold. But if you can get him to the spot that he's hitting exactly where you need him to be later in the season, yeah, I like it. But I do think if they struggle, there's a chance that, it's a trade piece. I mean, they would, whether it was a rumor or not, that trade option was there going to Houston with Boehm at some point this offseason. It had to be some sort of a rumor, whether it was or not. But, and then now he's representing himself as well. So he can go right to Dave immediately and say, am I on the trading block? He's going to say yes or no. He doesn't have to go through the agent. I think there's going to be a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of transparency, I guess, with Nick Castellanos.
Well, of course, yeah, because he's agentless, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of why he did it. He said that's what those trade rumors. He could go right to Dave instead of going through a third party and going through all of that. He can go right to Dave immediately since he's representing himself now and being like, "Hey, what's the deal with me? What am I doing? What are you trading me? Or am I on the block? What's happening?" So, I have high hopes for Nick though, and I'm excited to see what he can do in 2025.
All right, then, guys, the big one. How many wins? What are the Phils doing this this postseason? Predictions. Come on, big predictions. Alex.
It's for me. I just can't see how they don't at least make it to the World Series. I just can't. I think that I don't know. They want it so bad, and I know that's pitching. Not a.
We're going to have what? Nola, Wheeler. Oh God, you're yeah.
Well, we talked about already. The bullpen is going to get a bolster just by 3 of Luzardo, Suarez, Sanchez, and Painter being in there. So I think the pitching staff is it's so good, and I think that again, that's what wins you championships. But at the same time, they have so many guys that have so much to prove and so much that they want to do. And they're so close. Like all the intangible factors seem to be there. So now the on-field product just has to be exactly what we know it can be. And I feel like, yeah, they definitely win the East. I don't know who these crazy people are that set these odds, but I don't see how either of these other teams
not buying it, no.
are as good as this team is. And I think that, I'd say 96, 97 wins is enough to get you there. I would say 95, but I hate saying the same total that they had the year prior. So 96, 97 is enough to get you there. And then the Dodgers are really the only thing standing in their way. And I think that's, I don't know. I don't see a repeat. World Series hangover is real. We'll see. They're obviously great. They're amazing, but I don't know. My gut just says it. And the American League stinks. American League stinks.
You ain't gonna convince me.
The American League sucks. There is no way any team from the American League has beaten the Phillies in 7 games. There's no way. I have the Red Sox going to the World Series. There's no way the Red Sox. There's no way. There's no way. So they just got to get there. They got to get there, and then they're going to stay there.
Richard?
99 and World Series.
Let's go.
I think we're gonna get there, and we're gonna be like, oh my god, they're gonna do 100, and then they're gonna do the Phillies thing, and they're gonna fall short, and everyone's gonna go, oh, season's over, and then we're gonna surprise everyone and win the World Series.
Spencer?
All sounds good to me. The pitching has seen, the pitching is going to get you there. What is then the last 3 seasons is your bats go cold at the wrong time. If they can change that narrative this season, yes, the World Series or bust. I really will say that. But the pitching, I'm not worried about. It's the hitting. And if they can get down to it, I don't know. I'm going to say 92 wins. 92 wins. They should win the division. Don't know if they will. The Braves, once they get healthy, with everybody that's still the Braves, the Mets aren't going to win the division. But just get healthy, stay healthy. That's what it comes down to. You should be able to win the World Series this year, and I think they will.
Right time.
Yeah.
97 wins, and I'll see you all on Broad Street for the parade.
Let's go.
Love it.
Let's go.
It's good. Do you want a hot take? I think the Mets don't even make the playoffs this year.
Oh wow.
I don't think that. Yeah, I can talk about it.
Rotation.
I live in New York. Like I will see this team a lot this year. I look on paper, and I just don't know what we're talking about. It's the people that have the Mets winning the East. I am just like, what are we
mental? What
are we smoking?
I mean, if they might make it if the Central is so weak again, but it looks it as well. The Cubs don't look anything special. Cardinals, Brewers.
Brewers always find a way.
Any more hot takes, guys, before we wrap it up?
Win the World Series.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't. Well, I'd say win the World Series, but that's not a hot take because it's going to happen.
It's not. I've listened for the last hour. I think it's a hot take. I think talked ourselves into it.
I genuinely do think that in terms of like pure wins above replacement, I think Bryce Stott and Brandon Marsh are going to rank in the top 5. Both. I think they both. Brandon Marsh, it's just he is a ticking time bomb. He's just waiting to blow up. In the best way, obviously. And then Bryson Stott is going to play Gold Glove defense and definitely have a better year at the plate than he did last year. And even with I don't know, he had like a 730 OPS or something 2 years ago and still racked up like 5 WAR.
And let's be clear, Kepler's going to be no Whit Merrifield, right?
Well,
because everyone's going, oh, Merrifield had a great spring and look what happened to him. Kepler just looks a completely different animal to Merrifield.
He does look outstanding. I'm trying to keep myself conservatively, in my body.
Yeah.
Really, he looks great. He looks really good. He looks every bit. You can see why that was the guy that they were like, yeah, he's gonna do it for us. Like even though he's not right-handed, right? You can see it every day. He's really good.
Well, folks, if you weren't hyped up for the new season, well, here we are because we've just talked ourselves into the Phillies going all the way and win the World Series. So we're hyped. as ever, guys. Thank you for coming on. It's been fun. I am. Get me to
3 days,
Thursday.
man.
Get
3
me to
days.
Ready to go.
Literally, I'm gonna go into a coma directly after this, so I can get to Thursday so quick.
I can't
I'm
wait for it
so
all to
done
come
with
crashing
waiting.
down
I'm
on Thursday
done.
night.
Yahoo won't let me IL my fantasy players. I need Thursday as soon as possible.
It's
That was the best.
well, we've had many a painful opening day, but this one's going to be different. It's going to be it's the Nationals. It's the Nationals. Come on.
I'll be the good luck charm.
It's the Nationals
Let's
with
go,
Josh Bell, Dave. It's the Nationals with,
Yeah.
with Josh Bell.
He's gonna have 4 home runs in the first 3 games.
Zach
but-
Wheeler.
Don't do it.
It's starting this game.
Don't end it like this. Well, right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, for watching.
They're gonna win anyway.
We've done it, guys. Opening day is upon us. Wherever you are, if you're going to DC, if you're in Philly, wherever you're on the world, enjoy it. It's such a great day. Stop worrying about the things that we can't control and just sit back, buckle up, enjoy the ride. We're about to go on that Phillies roller coaster again. From me, Dave Shaw, it is Ring the Bell. From Richard,
Ring the bell.
from Spencer.
Ring the bell, baby. I finally got it.
Ring the bell, Dave.
Let's go. Go, Phils.